Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking another look here at Avalanche. Seeing what's going on here, it's been a little while since we covered this last, so I'll have to tighten up some of our charts here, but I can tell you that this is actually looking better than most coins, even though also not really. I got to explain what I mean by that. Before we do, I want to say thank you to my community and just everyone that's been watching. Hitting that like button every video is really, really super helpful. We're actually starting to get a little bit more views on average now, which is really great. So thank you again for always hitting that like button every time you watch a video, and possibly even contributing by providing some type of commentary down below. It's always good to hear from you. All right, so let's take a quick look here at AVAX here. And again, it's been a little while since I covered this, so I'm just going to go ahead and update our charts here and just quickly understand here with liquidation. The thing we want to kind of talk about is that there's not a lot of liquidation left to the downside, which is generally a favorable sign. It means people are kind of like sick and tired of taking loans and getting destroyed. Okay, that's a common denominator with most coins. As you can see, a lot of liquidation got taken care of in the $28 range. Now we're kind of in this like lower surprising range, which isn't all that surprising really based on the way the market's moving. But what we want to look at here is, well, just this lower level. Let me explain here. If we take a look, we can zoom in. There is technically more macro liquidation at about this 2450 mark. Okay, so I do think one last wick down would make sense. We're forming a bearish rectangle as well in a lot of coins, specifically Bitcoin, Solana, and a few others that I've covered here today so far. So I'll explain more about that in a minute, but generally speaking, we have more liquidation on the downside than the upside, if you consider this local or this more so last 2 weeks worth of trading. Okay, last thing I want to look at here is just see if there's what our delta is, and you can see here there's a pretty significant amount of liquidation on the downside, so more people are shorting than taking longs. That kind of just lets you know the overall sentiment here for AVAX is short biased, right? And that basically just means that the trend is your friend. Okay, so in this regard, when the trend is your friend, what do? Well, you typically want to trade in the direction everything's going. So while I side on the fact that you should probably buy some dips at some point, there's just a lot of reasons and contributing factors here as to why the price should continue lower from that sense. So I just want you to kind of think about that for the moment going into this. It doesn't mean you just make a decision based on that and we just instantly shift from bearish to bullish or whatever. You should never attach yourself to a specific mindset. You should always be fluid, and make sure you understand specifically that the market in itself, it's always dynamic, and you can never just attach yourself to one bias or the other. Right now, though, here's the interesting thing about AVAX, and it's different than most other coins. It's still honoring its ascending trend here. We're over the 50-day SMA, more specifically under the 20. I don't love that, but most coins dropped under the 20-day SMA. Well, that basically just means we got to respect the fact that we probably got a resistance in the $27 to $28 range, which makes sense because that was open. There's a lot of open interest in that area too. Also a previous high. Okay, so when we see all that stuff kind of combined together with this fair value gap getting swept, there's a solid chance AVAX does recover, but I'm not sold on that just yet because I still feel like Bitcoin hasn't broken out. It needs to break its range first. And if you are not familiar, we have a bearish rectangle for Bitcoin still holding so far between approximately 60.8 and about 62,000. So again, a closure above 62,000 today is extremely important for Bitcoin, and we're not currently seeing that just yet. All right, so just keep that in mind. Another thing to recognize too is there's still a lot of liquidation. There's about 9 billion in shorts versus longs as far as the delta is concerned, and that's never a great sign. So again, with the common mindset here that most things are going to probably continue lower, we're in a bearish downtrend, do you really feel comfortable taking a long right now? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Well, I guess the question you also got to ask yourself is, do you like putting money in the toilet and flushing it down the toilet, right? That's generally what you're doing if you're trying to take a long right now. It's just a bad idea, okay? So again, that's just kind of the consensus overall right now in the market. So just attach yourself to the fact that most coins are going down, and it's extremely risky to take a long position right now. We're under 50 on the RSI, stochastic pulling back, money flow index is pulling back as well. The MACD is diverging. We are also trending towards zero line here on the TSI. These are not great signs here, folks. These are all signs letting us know that more likelihood of further downside is present and clear and present, right? So again, for the most part, we haven't broken bearish at all, but this short-term trend right now is still absolutely bearish, and there's nothing to really kind of prove that we've broken that otherwise. We're going to draw out a trend line here as well, just kind of keep an eye on things here and just kind of pay attention. Once again, I'll post a playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. It'll look a little something like this if you're not familiar. This is Solana's chart, for example, full-on bearish rectangle. And in fact, let's talk about bearish rectangle and see, because at this point, this isn't really much of a rectangle. This is more like a kind of a pennant pattern, okay? Again, roughly the same amount of potential for breakout, but when the price comes down like it is right here so far, you see it usually works itself into a wedge and continues lower, okay? So again, it's not a guarantee it's gonna continue lower, it's just a larger statistical probability. We've also got a lot of resistance above us too at $27.65, maybe to $28 range. So it would make sense for the price, if it does recover, to reject off that level and continue lower for a potential head and shoulders pattern. Okay, again, that's very ugly, just throwing it out there. But Solana, again, has a very significant and prominent head and shoulders scenario here right now. Not like AVAX is following Solana, but Solana's following Bitcoin, and AVAX does too. Okay, please understand that. If you're not up to par with Bitcoin and understanding how it works, maybe watch my videos daily if you want. I cover it twice a day on average, and I can tell you it's pretty important to know what Bitcoin's doing at all times. So that's probably why you see so much analysis in that world. Either way, what I want to get at here on the 4-hour time frame is this bearish divergence is still very present. There's nothing here indicating that we're going to continue higher. Okay, again, now we've bottomed out, so to speak, at 20 on the money flow index, and we hit 30 on the RSI. Those are generally bouncing points, which we're seeing here happen sort of, where the price is bouncing a little bit there, but we still haven't broken free from this range. So me personally, I'm going to just draw this out here too to give you perspective. We're in an obvious range, and that range has not been broken. And keep in mind too, if you've watched my Trading University videos available through cryptocash.tech, if you're part of our members section there, obviously, I highly recommend you watch that, but the general consensus is I describe 3 different patterns that trading gives you. In other words, you got a descending trend, you got a horizontal trend, and then an ascending trend, right? To identify a bullish trend, in other words, take it long with confidence right now, we need to establish higher highs and higher lows at the very least. Before that happens, to preface, you generally go sideways in a range until that range is broken. When the range derives from the upside, it's more commonly to break to the downside because of momentum and the fact that the bulls are losing control. So that's just a statistical fact. Again, it's not a guarantee, but if you take a look here at just say chart patterns, for example, take a look at this this channel pattern here. What is it? Bullish rectangle, bearish rectangle. There we go. Roughly about an 80% probability of breaking down because, again, you're consistently retesting those levels. And the bears eventually win in this situation because it came from the upside. Again, it's just kind of a momentum play, if you will. So that's forming right now. It's happening. I know you don't love it probably if you're like an AVAX long kind of person, which generally you should be because for the most part, longs carry less risk and you're generally going to be finding more success with those. But not right now. I just got news for you. It's not the case. Either way, the lagging span is intersecting with the price action here soon. It does imply if you have a short position open, you should have secured profits by now. Don't be super greedy. It's not a greedy market, folks. Lagging span intersecting there. We also got conversion line and baseline coming together. And then, of course, the obvious cloud here just kind of hanging out right here. Okay, that's working fairly consistent with this descending trend. So my personal thoughts here is until we break this descending trend line, there's no reason to consider a long position. Even after we break that descending trend, we still want to reevaluate and make sure it's worthwhile and that Bitcoin's performing the way that it should. All right, so that's what we got there. Simple, easy, clear as mud, right, folks? As they like to say. I appreciate you watching, though. Again, hit the like button if you get a chance. Of course, please appreciate that. And then obviously join us on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord. I would definitely recommend Discord because we got a really cool, awesome, active community here. It's been a lot of fun. It's a really cool experience. So I deeply appreciate everybody being part of that. So we'll look forward to seeing the next one. Hope you all have a great rest of the day. Take care of yourself.